That's okay. All right, welcome to Deep Ministry, where we read the Christ letters. Right back. Where we read the Christ letters. We're on letter number 7. And tonight we're going to talk about racism. Christ letter is going to talk about racism. Why? Why we have all this um, division in our society? The Christ letter is going to touch on that. And I mean, we could know that that's just a plan to keep us separated. If we're united, we wouldn't be under this mental slavery. So the Christ letters is gonna touch on how we get our races, how you become black, how you become white. Does it matter? This class system. If you know who God is, you know that He didn't create anything better than any. We all took on His image. We all took on our Father. We all get our being from our Father, Mother God. So it's time for us to lock up this racism thing and put it in a bottle. Because if you we know we're energy beings, and the color of her skin does not matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't. All right, so here we go. We're going to go into the Christ letters tonight. And the topic tonight is going to be racism. 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 For you who have come to understand the truth concerning who you really are, I want to talk to you about the worldwide concern regarding racism. I would have you know that this talk of racism arises only out of the ego drive of those people who have felt themselves despised and rejected because of their racial differences. These feelings are rooted so deeply in the self, and no matter how circumstances may change for them, and they may be able to progress in life, even become characters of extreme importance on the world stage of life, there always remains the feelings of inadequacy and resentment against the people who first made them feel inferior. So, um, so the Christ Setters is saying that the racism arises from our ego drive, from our ego. But I understand what the Christ letters, but it's been pushed so much to cause division. And yeah, even sometimes when we're not oppressed, we still feel like we're being racist against that race, that we're still being prejudiced against. Yes, but so the Christ letters is saying, listen, it's just a deep, um, it comes from the ego, the self, the we not knowing who we are. Um, we not knowing that we're a divine being, and because we're so attached to this physicality, this materialistic world, we're looking in the mirror and I look like a black woman, but we're just energy. We're energy vibrating at a certain frequency. That's who we are. That's what we are. We're energy beings. And Yeah, so racism arise um, from our ego. It's saying so. It's when we know who we are. Listen, we don't care who you want to love us, you want to like us. We don't care who you think we are. We don't care if you want to hate us. It's we know. If you hate me, you hate yourself. That's basically it. When we don't have an understanding, and our ancestors. Um, that's the only way they knew how to define what was happening to them. That what was happening to them, that they're being racist against, they're being prejudiced against. And yes, it's our ego. Our ego is gonna be like, we got our ego to defend us, and that's what our ego is gonna tell us, and that's what we're gonna believe. Because we didn't have knowledge of who we are. It should be understood that such feelings of inferiority are not unique to Black races. You see, Christ knew what was going to happen in this world. So, this feeling of inferiority, I know everyone in some areas of our lives feel inferior at certain time. So, it should be understood that such feelings of inferiority are not unique to Black races. These feelings of extreme loneliness, are experienced by the majority of people subjected to the caste system. And this caste system, oh my gosh. In India, class distinctions in the European culture, and in those countries where differences are made into mountains of separation of one person from another. These painful and undermining feelings of lesser status are experienced even by the so called exalted personages who are never quite comfortable in their positions of authority. Yes, so everyone, yes, even those who have the money, we look at them. That's why we think if we have the money, we're gonna be okay. We're not gonna feel inferior. We're gonna fit in if we could just have the education, if we could live in the best neighborhood, you know. But everyone feels inferiority, not just us as the Black race, and um, the caste system. I didn't know India was so culturally divided. That I didn't know there's a caste system in India. I grew up in Jamaica, and there's a caste system. I think there's a caste system in in Jamaica too, but we were ruled by the British. The class distinction in the European culture. This was brought by them as they colonized the world. They brought their culture with them. The division, if you live in a better house, if you have better education, you're better than the rest of your community, and people look up to you and people listen to you because you have better education, because you have money. That system is worldwide, especially in the areas where that same European culture has ruled. And today it's alive and kicking. I'm not familiar. I hear about it in India, but that they too have a caste system. It is not natural if you understand who you are, if you understand who God is. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. We all have the divine capacity to do anything we want, to be anything that we want. Your brain doesn't signify um, how smart you is. Your brain is a receptor. It's how consciously aware you are of the universe. Whatever you want, it it if you're it's you are the creator. You want money, you want this, you have to be aware of who you are. You want and then that knowledge will come in, and then your higher self will lead you into how to be a successful person in this realm. That's who we are. That's who we are. So yeah, the caste system, yeah. And as a person who comes from um the country that was ruled by the European culture, that's their culture. That's their culture, that is impressed upon us. That's not who we are. Not we are naturally. That's not who we are naturally. And that's the thing. We have to go back to who our ancestors are. And but guess what? They take our culture and they let it feel like it's it's magic, and it's this and it's that, and it's let us feel bad about what our ancestors believed in. Certain things like voodoo and obia, listen, this is what our ancestors knew, that we were energy beings, and energy is used to heal your body. That's how they used to heal. But when the colonizers come, they put such a stigma on it. And then we, as the generation passes and our ancestors die, we think all these things is so bad because we don't understand that the only way to heal yourself is to understand energy. And that's what Christ was doing when he was on earth. That's what Christ was doing. Everything is energy, you know. So because they do not understand our culture, so they let it. So we adapt their culture. That's why we're sick. That's why our society and the Black community it has more disease than any other race, because we're not living as who we are. I'm 100%. I 100% believe that we didn't even eat meat. We didn't eat meat. We value nature too much. Our ancestors didn't eat meat. That's not our culture. Our culture, as we can see the way we live now and understand what our culture was. Families, aunts, a community where everybody take care of each other. You know, we share responsibility with children, we share responsibility with food, and we have to go back to our culture. This divisiveness, this better than, and we're trying to, and what's happening to us, we're trying to keep up with that class system. We are trying to keep up with the colonizers um with culture, and in turn of doing that, we're trying to we get out of who we are. We get out of our spirituality. They give us a God. Don't even let us go that way. Don't even let us even think about that aspect of it. Oh, they give us a God. And knowing that our ancestors did know that nothing exists outside of ourselves. I know you can't tell the church, you can't tell Black people this, and now we're so divided. Oh, Africans, Caribbeans, Americans, and British, and whatever. That's not how it was. That's not how it was. We have to go back to who we naturally are. And yeah, divide and conquer. These are European culture. We have to go back to our culture. Okay. This feeling of inadequacy and unworthiness is endemic to the human race as a whole, no matter what the position or race or education of an individual may be. Everyone feel inadequate at time. Everyone feel unworthy at time. The feelings of worthlessness arises to a large extent from the deep, deep awareness of the psyche that ego behavior is contrary to the highest principles of human existence. When this natural inbuilt drive of unworthiness is reinforced by proximity with other apparently more prestigious or successful people, then this natural feeling of inadequacy takes on agonizing overtones. And this is saying everything um, that I was thinking today. You know, this we don't understand because we don't understand who we are. We don't understand that even though we forget who we are, even though you hear deep minister talking about, listen, this is not who you are. We're energy, we're divine beings. There's another aspect of ourselves, our higher self is actually guiding us at this time. Our body, and so you could call our body the ego, and our mind, the spiritual aspect of ourselves constantly is in battle, constantly is in battle. And a time when we're, as the Christ later call it, in stillness, the spiritual aspect of us come true. Sometimes, listen, you only have to be, and I'm going to do a video on the present moment. You only, in prayer, you only have to be in contact with that divine realm, maybe a second. And it's impressing on your mind. Listen, Jane, dear, I'm over here. You are not the body. You are not part of this materialistic world. And that shows up in our lives when we can't express it. So what the Christ letters is saying, that worthlessness that you're feeling is when you who you really are, your higher self, the spiritual aspect of yourself come true. When the ego, we call it ego, Paul call it the flesh. When the flesh is even for a minute or a second subdued, that's why you feel that unworthiness. Oh, I am unworthy. Because what it's saying, what the Christ letter is saying, this ego is contrary. This ego, this materialistic world, this flesh is contrary to who we are. Is contrary to who we are. Even though you might listen and you'll believe, oh no, no, I'm not God. I'm not my higher self. No, this is me. When I die, I go. It doesn't matter what you believe. The truth is the truth. The truth is the truth. If I tell you you create your reality and you don't believe, it doesn't matter because you're doing it anyway. You're doing it unconsciously. So a lot of these feelings we feel sometimes and we can't explain it. It's the battle that's going on in your body. That's what Paul talks about. The flesh, the flesh have to be subdued. And this Christ later call it your ego. Your ego is natural. I hear people talking, it's natural to your incarnation in this realm. I hear people talk about ego death. No. Mm-mm. Your ego can't die. It has to be subdued. It has to decrease so the divine being that we are can increase. That's what the Bible is telling us. And it's a battle. It's a battle. Okay. So, yeah. So the feeling of worthlessness arises to a large extent from the deep, deep awareness of the psyche that your ego behavior is contrary. This me, I, want the materialistic, what ego, you only what you see, and everyone's against you, is contrary to the highest principles of human existence. When this naturally inbuilt unworthiness is reinforced by proximity to other apparently more prestigious. So when you get this unworthiness, when you feel this unworthiness because of your flesh, because you don't know the divine being that you are, and you see other people prospering, you think, oh, they're better than me. Oh, they're better than me. And the Bible keep telling us, listen, don't be jealous of anyone's blessing. Don't be jealous of anyone's marriage. So you feel unworthy by comparing yourself with others. There's a poem they taught us in school. I never forget it. Desiderata. If you compare yourself with others, you'll always become vain and bitter. There's always going to be someone greater and lesser than yourself. So basically, that's what Christ is saying. And what that does is when you reinforce that unworthiness, this is all your ego. This is all that what they call self. This is all the aspect of the physical aspect of us. We're letting these things run the show, not our divinity, not the divine beings that we are, run the show. We're allowing the flesh to run the show. So this is what gives us a feeling of unworthiness, a feelings of racism, a feeling of less than. And all even when you come into your divinity, to who you understand who you are, you still have to constantly remind your subconscious when you that listen, no, I am a divine being. I create my reality. Um, I am responsible for everything that goes on in my life. We have to keep, it's a daily take up your cross and follow me. It's the cross is the ego, the flesh. It's a daily task. Okay. And the only means of overcoming the ethnic painful feelings of rejection, even when highly successful, is to reach the clear realization that if there had not been the kind of ethnic upheavals, removals, arrival of strangers and aliens with their different languages, cultures, educational process, and their subjection of your natural states and modes of living, the various races would not now be occupying the positions of responsibility and worldly status as some have achieved at this moment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything works out for our divine purpose. Everything works out for us. I know they tell us the slave story, and I know I don't believe in the slave story. I don't think we were ever enslaved physically. It's all mental. Our mind was enslaved. Yeah, everything and different cultures, and you meet different cultures. Everything works out for your good. Everything does. Therefore, the only healing and life renewing course of action is to meditate, ponder, reflect, and ask the divine light for the subject, divine light on the subject until you can in honestly say, Lord, I am sincerely glad and happy that all those terrible things took place. Because of them, I am where I am today. Because of them, I have been given an opportunity to test and experience the extent of my endurance, intellect, emotions, and talents. I can measure myself against the achievements of other races and perhaps continue to learn how to rise still further from my beginnings. I thank you for the strength and inspiration to show my basic equality with everyone else. I send out my thoughts of love and gratitude to those who laid the foundations for my present good and those many, many years ago. And this is wonderful because if we, especially us that they told us that we're enslaved, and especially us who have struggled, sometimes in this world, we as the Black race, and if you were in the caste system around the world, we definitely, and I'm from Jamaica, and I mean, I don't know what we can't overcome because of what we've been through. I was just thinking the other day, someone said, "Oh, there's a famine coming, there's a famine coming, and you have to know how to do this." And listen, what we've been through, what some of us been through, I don't even think famine can take us out because we have been through the worst because of oppression. In America, there's probably segregation. So many things have happened to us. And there's someone says, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. This is what this paragraph is talking about. It's like now we're thankful for what we've been through because you wouldn't be probably watching this video uh, if you were all comfortable and living life. You wouldn't understand well, probably I wouldn't have understand reality. I wouldn't understand what Christ's ministry on earth here was. It's the seeking for I can speak for myself, injustice. um I remember when Tamir Rice was killed. Um, is it 27? It's probably between 2015 and 2017. That thing changed me. This, he just reminded me of my son. This is what, as growing up, you see young boys playing with a toy gun, freely enjoying life, and to be gunned down like that, that really, really pull on my heart. And I think that really changed me because, and I asked God, God, what about our race? Why are we experiencing these things like this? That's what turned me. And I thought he would have taken me into some form how to help the Black people. I didn't know this is where I was it was gonna take me to help us raise our consciousness and understand who we are, understand the divine beings that we are. That's how we're going to help our community. That's how we're going to help ourselves. It doesn't matter how many times we march, you know, if we don't understand who we are, we're still going to be on the losing end. So today, all the struggles that we've been through, we're going to come to a place and be like, I'm thankful for my ancestors and all they have done and what they've been through, and even with nothing, they made something, and here we are today. And here we are today. So the work it continues for the next generation. What are we going to leave for the next generation? I just feel that if you're 40 and up, you have such a responsibility for the next generation. Um, to understand self, to understand who they are, to understand the power that lives within them. That there is no less than, there's no greater than. We have a creator who loves us so much, so much. Oh, we don't understand when the Bible says there's no separation. There's none. He's still working through us. It's like someone says, it's like we're in the mind of God. We're still in the mind of God. I see it like we're still in the womb. The womb. We're in a womb, and we're still connected to our Creator. There is no separation. There's no separation. All right. So let me highlight this. Now we have to be thankful to our ancestors. They tell us to be scared of our ancestors. Our ancestor, that ancestral energy run through our bloodline. Even though I teach about that God is not outside of us, but whatever they believe in, that allows me to come into this knowledge. There's nothing separate. There's no separate. It's just a different understanding, deeper and deeper and deeper. We're going of understanding self. You can also reflect upon the fact that it was inevitable, according to the laws of existence, that those who were connected with slave trading and other tragic events or were responsible for handing out pain and torture to other human beings should return in a future life as a member of the downtrodden races and suffer grievously. When born into Black races, it is more than likely that these people were vociferous in their demands for equality and humane treatment for Black people. Such a person may even have been your great grandfather or your father, and you may be wondering why life has treated the poor soul so badly. Alternatively, the white people who manacled the Black people and kept them in dungeons at this time may still be creating mayhem for other people by occupying the streets of society of all races, which are rebelling vociferously against the past. It may well be a past where they themselves had helped to bring into being. Listen. It's like hell. Listen, we reap what we sow. We reap what we sow. This world is not, if we get rid of the jails, if we get rid of the police, this world, it have a justice proof. We don't understand that. We like the immediate satisfaction that our enemies are punished. I did a video before. Listen, the way this earth was created, everything we do, we get punished. We reap what we sow. Don't think you see people out here treating God's people in such a way. Even what Trump is doing with the Mexicans, listen, we reap what we sow. We reap what we sow. They try to do things. Everyone has to abide by universal law because you have what they call Miss Karma. Miss Karma. The law of the universe, you reap what you sow. For every cause, there's an effect. And what this is saying, with the laws of existence, if you were the one who treated were so terrible against slavery and against Black people and all that, when you reincarnate, you probably come back as a Black person. And that's what they don't tell us. That's in the, in church. Some people don't like to talk about reincarnation. Yeah, yeah, we have many lives. Yeah. So those people, your family line, and you out here think you're better than, and you listen, no one's better. No one's better. Be careful how you treat other people. Everyone's gonna get what them get. I know we look at it and we be like, no, the wicked is still. Who are you to determine who's wicked and who's not? The wicked is still prospering. Look what they do. Listen, everyone get the universe is, you can't fool anyone. You can't fool this universe. You reap what you sow. You do. Yeah, they can fool us, and tell us they're doing things and they're not doing things. So you're looking, oh, why it's so and so, but it's probably not true. It's probably not true. So listen, we live in a world where we have been deceived by so many things, so many deception. It's ridiculous. People who did not die, they tell us die. History, that's not true. They tell us because they want us to create a world Oh, they tell you, oh, someone was killed by the police, and you start hating and we start marching, and that person probably didn't even die. So that's why the Bible says discern, 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 discern. Because listen, we don't need police, we don't need jails. Anything we do, it's gonna come back at you. It's coming back at you. Anything you do against God's creation. I think even if you kill a plant, even if you step on a lizard, I really do. It comes back at you. All right. So, yeah. So let me highlight this. So, when born in Black races, it is more than likely that these people were vociferous in their demands for equality and humane treatment of Black people. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Nani, Paul Bogle, all those people, Nelson Mandela. Such a person may even have been your great grandfather or father, Bishop Boone. And you may be wondering why life has treated the poor soul so badly. And you'd be like, why did they kill him? Why did they kill all these? Well, they didn't kill Bishop Boone, but some of these people who was vociferous for our freedom, for equality, you know. Alternatively, the white people who manacled the Black people and kept them in dungeons at this time may still be creating mayhem for other people by occupying the stratas of society of all races, which are rebelling vociferously against the past. It may well be a past which they themselves has helped to bring into being. So listen, every race, whatever race you have a responsibility to live a life of peace with your neighbor. Live a life of peace with your neighbor. It is a fact that people are reincarnated into different stratas of society, in different races, to enable the soul to learn some meaningful lesson as it journeys upwards towards Christ consciousness. Mhm. This is why we're here. People are reincarnated into different stratas of society in different races to enable the soul to learn some meaningful lesson as it journeys upwards towards Christ consciousness. This is why we're here. We are incarnated in different races so that we can learn lessons as we come into Christ consciousness, as we come into our divinity. So this is how we get our color. Why am I Black now? Maybe I wasn't Black before. Maybe I was a different race before. Hmm? Because you are so don't see the color of your skin don't see the color of your skin as something bad or something better than. Don't see the color of your skin as something bad or something better than. You probably, in your past lives, you needed the struggle of the Black person. And and in your past lives, there's a reason why you're in the white race. There's a reason why you're in the Mexican race or all the race. There's a reason why you're incarnated. The main purpose of us being here is to become into your Christ consciousness, is to become the divine being. So whatever path we play here, remember, this white race hasn't been ruling long. The Black race was ruling before. What happened in the previous time when the black race was ruling that you have to become black now? What did you do? What did your soul do? What didn't you achieve? What happened when in the past life when the white race was ruling? Why you have to be in the white race now? So everything is for soul growth. And these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. You know, these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, not we're living in a better area and we shouldn't see a black person on our streets and we're better than the Mexicans should be deported. You know, we're here for soul growth. We're here to come in to our divinity, to understand the divine beings that we are, and no longer being led um, are longer in this mental slavery that we're in, trying to divide and conquer and telling us that some race is better than some and some people are better than some. These are the questions. You might be in the white race because um, you need to you need to help other people. You're in that position to help somebody, not to look down on somebody. With great privilege come great responsibility. You know, that's what the right white race has to think about. What's gonna be your next incarnation if you uphold division, if you uphold this racism, if you look and think, oh, you're better than Mexicans and Mexicans are thieves and robbers and they should go back to their own and they should go back to their own country. This country wasn't given to anyone specific. This country wasn't this world didn't, I don't think there's any name wasn't given this, even let's say United States, this is all ours. Who gives them responsibility for them? The rule, nothing matters than universal law that matters, not these government laws and think they have authority over us. We're all the same being, we're all God's children. So if you're out there and especially to the white race, you know, what was your well, some of those are past and gone. Why are you upholding? Are the ruling race, and with that comes responsibility. Why are you upholding division? Are you upholding, not why are you, but are you upholding division? Are you upholding um, laws and rules to oppress other races? Mm? Because when we leave this earth, we have to give accountability, and and this kind of depends on where we at in our reincarnation journey. And you see people like Mother Teresa and people who spent their lives, those white people that was with the black people in those marches with Martin Luther King and all that. You have some white people, Billy Graham and them, that never settled for this division. Never. Because they know we're all God's children. We're not here to just to live this physical life. We're here for soul growth. We are here to evolve. We're here to come into our divinity. This is not our for some of us first time here on earth. There's a reason why we're in the race that we're in. And for you black people, you probably are Mexicans or I'm just speaking on these races that I know are in India with the caste system. Guess what? You probably choose the race because you want your soul to evolve more. So if you're out there and you feel like, oh, listen, this caste system in India, I'm Mexicans, I'm being targeted, I'm black, I'm being pulled over for the. Remember, we choose this life. We choose it. And what do we want to? What about it that we need to overcome so that our soul can evolve, so we can come into our Christ consciousness? Don't see everything as racism, even though it's probably is by the other person. Don't live our let us try not to live our life like, oh, race. It doesn't matter what other people opinions of us are. Well, we should live our life, be like, oh, what can I learn from the struggle? That should be, oh my God, today I know I was profiled by how can I learn from this higher self? How do I get better from this? Not to serve the earthly, we're talking about spiritually and divine. Now, how can I get better be a better person so the cops won't pull me over? No. Higher self, what's the lesson I should learn from what happened today? What's the divine lesson I should learn? We're not here to please man on earth. We're here for a soul to evolve. We're here to be like Christ, basically. That's why we're here. That's what Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and Krishna and all of them trying to tell us. This is who you are. You have to evolve. You have to evolve, else you're going to repeat. You're going to have to keep repeating this until we get it. We're in a school. Earth is a school. So the problem is we're trying to be better citizens, not better souls. It doesn't matter if we live in the gated community. It doesn't matter if you could go to the highest of your career. It doesn't matter. It's not this earth doesn't matter. It matters what you do here that so your soul can evolve. That's how it matters. It doesn't matter if your physical self is getting higher and higher, because the homeless man's soul probably evolved, and you up there in your gated community or in your $1 billion home, and your soul hasn't evolved. And the man who chose to live, and let me tell you, that homeless person, he chose that crippled person, come here, mute, and all that. They chose, that's what their soul chose for them. The prize is the evolving of our soul to be like, to come to that Christ consciousness. That's the prize, not where you live on this earth. And this is what it was telling us, that the rich man and the camel of the eye and all that. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, we all souls and we're here to evolve. And that's the question we should be, not to be like whoever so we can live in the best community, not to be the good. Yeah, we can be good neighbors to each other, but at the end we have to make sure we're asking our divines, our higher self, how do I learn from whatever I am experiencing in this earth? Not everything's happening in our lives is because of the devil. Don't even get me started on the devil. We give this devil so much authority. We give whoever the devil is. I don't know whoever the devil is, whatever. Oh, the devil make no, it's you. Within you, you have the power to be the devil and God at the same time. There's no two, it's one. It's always oneness. And in that person that you call, you think is so wicked, there's God in him. And in that person you think is so good, there's the devil in him. And they can be, it's your vibration at any time. They can be the devil and they can be God. It's just one. People aren't created evil. People aren't created evil and wicked as according to us. They're just in their ego. They're just in their flesh, as Paul tells us. Bear in mind the fundamental principle of existence. You yourselves create your tomorrows. Remember that. Bear in mind, and if you listen to me, study the laws of existence. We know Moses' law, but if you understand the laws of existence, that covers Moses' law. Moses' law come under that. The universal law, you have to understand it. That's why your government, now you understand why the government let us sign everything. That everyone goes by universal laws because um, this is just a foolproof. This is it. You can't do anything you want. This world can't keep going down and down, treating people bad. It has to come back. It has to. It's the laws of existence. We have to get higher. We have to evolve. We have to create. When we stop creating, then we're ready to leave this earth. Like when we get older and we don't have the, we're not thinking, we don't have the inner, we're not thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to fly. Anytime you stop thinking like that, it's what you're telling your higher self is like, I want to come home. I want to come home. I'm done with this earth. I want to come home. We have to constantly have the energy to create, want to do something, want to work, want to do things. That's why we're here. So bear in mind the fundamental principles of existence. You yourselves create your tomorrows. You bring into being also whatever you need for your upliftment by reaching out for it, whether you are aware of it or not. As you reach out for an improvement in your life conditions, you are spontaneously reaching into higher levels of spiritual consciousness. Do we understand that? And that's why I say I really, if you don't believe what you're hearing tonight, it doesn't matter. Because you're creating, if I tell you you create your own reality and you don't believe, that's okay. You're just doing it unconsciously. Not There's nothing outside of you that's affecting the way you're living. It's all within. It's all within. And you at any time you can change it, change your mind. But you always hear mind over matter. If you're thinking, oh, you're gonna get tomorrow you're gonna be in an accident, you will. It's your thoughts that create your reality. Yeah, it's your thoughts. You are creating every aspect of yourself. Everything going, look at your life, it's you. I am responsible. That's the affirmation that everyone should have on their wall. I am responsible. You are the God. You're creating you are the God of your own universe. Every cells, every organs in your body listen to you. You are doing that. So you bring into being also whatever you need for your upliftment by reaching out for it, whether you are aware of it or not. As you reach out for an improvement in your life conditions, you are spontaneously reaching into higher levels of spiritual consciousness. All I have already told you, the divine will is to release creation from stress, and therefore those lessons needed to take you upwards towards divine consciousness will come into your experience. We are in a school. The divine will is to release creation from stress, is for us to have the best life. Think like that. That's God. That's God. When we struggles are it's lessons. Don't see it as the enemy. Don't see it as the devil. It's for us to come into the God that we are, basically. If you're out there and you right now you'll be like, you know what, deep ministry, there's sickness. It's sickness in my body. How can that be? Yes, it is. It's for you to reach out and into your divine self, your higher self, and call on God. Understand the God that you are. If you think the sickness comes to take you out, it will. Whatever you think, it's your universe. It will happen. So all these that come, what I do, I ask my higher self, how does this help me evolve? What lessons am I supposed to learn from the struggles, from this job that's not paying me? That I know I'm more than this job. I know I deserve more. Teach me and guide me into the path where I can have a better paying job. We talk to our friends, but we don't talk to our higher self. Our best friend is our higher self. Your soul, the all knowing aspect of yourself. That's our best friend. We're in this thing together. We're in this thing together. Who you think answer your prayers? Who you think give you that call when you ask? Huh? Who you think you're worshiping? Your higher self. Hmm? Your higher self. You want to call it doesn't names doesn't matter. You call him Jesus, or you call your higher self Jesus. And if I have to give, I would say her, that I am aspect of yourself. You call him Jesus, you call him Buddha, Muhammad, whatever you call it. Name doesn't matter. It's your vibration, it's your intention. Okay, it's your higher self. All right. As I have already told you, the divine will is to release creation from stress, and therefore those lessons needed to take you upward towards divine consciousness will come into your experience. So those lessons needed for you to evolve, for you to become the God that you are, will come into your experience. You will experience these things. Whatever you're experiencing, it's to make you come into the divine being that you are. Whatever right now, everyone knows what is going through their lives that is really taking a toll on them, is for you to come into your divine self. I'm here in the scripture that says, whom he loves, he chastens. It's to make you better. It's to make you um, come in contact. Is to with that divine aspect of you, is to make you know that this world, this materialistic world, is fleeting. It's not who you are. Therefore, forgive, for you have no true knowledge of the journey of your soul through many countries, centuries of earthly existence. I have to laugh because let me tell you, centuries, hundreds of years. We are old, and people say you're an old soul. You are a whole old soul. I know the church don't teach us about incarnation, but I remember go and research King James, the King of England, why he took the path about the books of the Bible about reincarnation, because something with his wife. I think she was a witch or something, and he took the scriptures about, he didn't want, during the Council of Nicaea, he didn't want the scriptures that talked about reincarnation in the Bible. You want those out of the Bible. That's why we don't see reincarnation, but in the Bible. But it's alluded to it, like with Samuel and that lady that went and talked to Samuel. So it's you could tell it's there. Listen, we're energy beings. We do not die. We do not die. We're energy beings. We do not die. We just change form. We just changed form. Maybe we were here as a tree. Maybe we were here as a frog. Maybe we're here as water. Maybe we were here as the birds. Um, Maybe you were here as a Mexican, as a white person, as a black person. Yeah, many incarnations, centuries old. And listen, when your baby born, your baby is probably older than you. And in spiritual years, your baby is probably more old is older than you. Um, you serve Jesus. Some people here in Jesus probably from the same dimension. Your ancestors, they tell you to hate and serve Jesus. Your ancestors probably are in higher dimensions than Jesus. These are the reality. This is reality. This is reality. Your babies, they're God's babies. Your children, they're divine gods. They're not here to be. And I was thinking today, how you guide, how you teach a God. We're all We all have that divine source within us. So your babies are not, they're babies, but they're not really babies. They're not really babies. They are divine soul, probably thousands. I wonder how old I am. I don't know. Probably 1,000 centuries, it says. Yeah. All right. So we're coming. Yeah. So it says forgive because listen, we're coming. We too, we're in our low vibration. So you see people out there and you'll be like, oh my gosh, they're so wicked. They're this. We were probably there too. That's why it's important to forgive. And we are evolving. That soul is evolving, evolving, evolving. And yeah, here I am today, can talk about um, growth and can talk about consciousness. And you can be a pastor, you can be a whatever. But you don't know where you're coming from. This is in the, if you read the Christ letters, Christ really um, wants us to understand this. He talks about it a lot, forgiving. And this is why you forgive because and that's why it says, whoever never sinned cast the first stone, because you probably was in the same thing. Maybe you were gay. Who knows? The same thing you're accusing other people of in a previous lifetime, you were it. This is what he wants us to understand this so much. Forgive, don't judge. Who never seen cast the first stone? We're divine beings and we're evolving. We're in a school. We're growing. That soul is growing and when we say grow, come into the knowledge of who they are, understand the divine being that they are. Because even if you don't believe it, that's what we're doing. And if we can't get it, like how Christ came and got it, he ascended. Christ can't come back down here in this dimension. So if you're looking for Christ's return, he got it. He tells us in these letters, he is in that dimension where no body, the body in this three dimension can fit that energy. Nothing here can fit the power that Christ is. So what always coming back through these letters is coming back within you. That's how he's coming back. By telling by tapping into your mind, your consciousness, helping you grow. You can ask Christ for direction. Oh, send me this. No, he can't help you grow because that's why you're here. Even Christ have to follow universal law. No one can come against your growth, your free will. No one can do that because they have to answer to the universe. So when you understand universal law, you will understand how to ask Christ for direction, especially when I meditate. When I meditate, I'll ask Christ from if I want to see something. Or if I want to ask something, you can ask, you can put it in your mind. He can't come back in a body, so we can get that out. He's not coming back in a body. Can there be Christ-like figure come back and tell us and help in? Did Christ help that much? Yeah, I think even though we didn't understand his ministry, his name has kept alive. So in this Christ consciousness dispensation, we're more open to what we're reading about his ministry. So the goal is not for someone to come back and help you. The goal, when he says, greater things than I have done, you will do, the goal is for you to do what Christ did. Are you to become the Christ that you are, because we all have that potential for us to become the Christ that we are, because we have that potential to be the Christ, to be like what you call Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or whatever. Okay? So forgive. Forgive, for you have no true knowledge of the journey of your soul through many centuries of early existence. You have no knowledge of what you yourself did in lives gone past. Forgive the present, forgive the past, and accept that much good has come out of it. Learn to bless and love those whom you thought injured you or your ancestors. Now, remember, he's talking about racism. Forgive those who we think hurt us and our ancestors, and want us to forgive. And you who presently occupy skins which carry the power of privilege, consider other races and their problems and reflect upon the fact that you may, in a future life, occupy an underprivileged body and come to know firsthand what it is like to be born with a sense of being a second-class citizen. Reflect also on your past lives. Ponder what you may or may not have done to bring about your present situation. The truth about racism is this: every single entity under the sun has descended from divine consciousness in one way or another. At the very inmost roots of their being, everyone is united in oneness. Everyone is united in oneness. Everyone comes from the same source. It doesn't matter what the color of our skin is. So, for those who are in privileged, you should consider other races, as I mentioned earlier. The ruling class, the ruling race, don't go along with rules and regulation that oppress another race. Because if you do, in your next incarnation, you will also um, come into this world where you too, your race will also be oppressed. Your race will also be oppressed, and you will understand what it feels like for to be a second class citizens, to be a second class citizen. All right. And remember, we all come from the one source, oneness. There's no bad people, there's no good. Everyone has the God in them. Everyone has the God in them. Therefore, where do differences lie? They arise out of the development of species, genetics, conditioning, traditional teachings, customs, and educational and family habits of relating with others, and the differences in thought patterns. It is not the color which divides you. A small child of every race and color, because of its innocence and spontaneity of self expression, will find acceptance in the heart of most adults. It is the consciousness which divides you and which is felt on every level of your being, for you are all, despite of your materialized bodies, consciousness forms, expressing consciousness patterns, and consciousness forms receiving consciousness patterns from others. The consciousness of each individual is their reality, not their skin or appearance. And it is the consciousness of people which will either attract or repulse others. So, our consciousness is our awareness. This is what caused division among people, our consciousness. At the core of, he called the skins, we're in just skins. So he called the skin, he's saying it's not the color of our skin, it's our awareness, it's the way we were brought up. It's um when he said our consciousness, we are aware of things. So if you're one of the ruling race and you think you're better than everyone, I think, and everyone is dirty and everyone is lazy and all that, that's your consciousness. That's what you were taught. That's your conditioning in your home, in your family. You never did the research. You never asked your higher self to teach you and guide you about who we are, who are we as a race, or as a people on a whole. And it's funny to say some of the people in churches have um these consciousness about other people, have these thoughts about other people. So it's your awareness of creation, it's your awareness of self that gives you this feeling about other races. So you have to it's not because the person is white why he thinks that. It's because of his awareness. Because you have white people who have awareness of existence that doesn't think like that. And that's why they said you can't paint everyone with the same brush, because not every white person have this consciousness pattern which they receive from their family unit and growing up in their community and their conditioning. Not every white person have the same consciousness pattern. And not every black person is lazy. Not every, these things that we were taught in this world. We have to come to the knowledge of that, and that's what's keeping us divided. Our consciousness forms what we think, our awareness of who we think other people are, what we were taught in churches and schools. So we just judging a book by its cover. That's not it. This skin is just a skin. It's just a skin. So raise your consciousness, raise your vibrational frequencies, and you'll understand that everyone come from the same source. It's not our skin color let us behave why we're poor. It's not our skin color let us behave in a certain way. It's not our skin color. It's your consciousness. You can rest assured that you will only overcome your sense of racial differences when your mental, emotional thought patterns are in sympathy And when your values by which you choose to live throughout your day are the same, until that time comes, it is useless for people to be angry with one another for experiencing racial differences. They are endemic to the human condition. We see that to overcome our sense of racial differences when your mental, emotional thought patterns are in sympathy. Sympathy. And when your values by which you choose to live throughout your day are the same. Until that time comes, it is useless for people to be angry with one another for experiencing racial differences. They are endemic to the human conditioning. Mm. If you want to be accepted completely into another race, you have to change your values, your perceptions, your ideas, your modes of living and of relating to others to match everyone else's in in that race. Racial differences then die a natural death. Ah, I know, Crisis seems optimistic about that, but I'm not sure. So Christ is saying if you want to be accepted completely into another race, you have to change your values, your perceptions, your ideas, the modes of living and of relating to others to match everyone else's in that race. Racial differences then die a natural death. I can understand perception that I just talked about. We have different perception of other races. Um, that's just perception. Perception, yeah, so perception is some people's reality, you know. Um, the way we relate to others. And it's how we were programmed. We were programmed about other races, and they had to do it. They had to do it because that's what keeps us divided, because some feel better than, so they stick with this oppressive way of living, and some out here saying no, this is oppression, and the one that's okay with it be like, well, if you don't do this, then you'll be okay. If you follow the rules of the cops, then they won't kill you, you know because you don't understand. Listen, we have to understand we're talking past each other. Yes, it's oppressive. Now we're all enslaved. There's the master, puppet master behind pulling each other's strings. And whoever is behind there, I don't care. They don't care what race we are, only we do. They don't care what race we are. We're just slaves to them. So whether you're in the big house or the small house, listen, we're all slaves. We're all slaves. And if we come together and realize that, then we're gonna know who the puppet master is, and um, then we're gonna go after them. If you are not prepared to take on the consciousness of the race you wish to join, then acknowledge, accept, and respect with love the differences in consciousness. No one has the right to demand you should ignore the differences. So, and that's it. And I'm happy that this consciousness is rising when everyone be like, listen, we're energy beings. We're energy beings vibrating at a certain frequency. Um, the race, this flesh is just skin, as Christ called it. The true us is inside the skin. The true us, who we really are. There's no color. And sometimes I would love to know why we get, well, Christ said you get your I think to keep things, um they want us to keep things interesting. If you can't love your, as I think Christ said, if you can't love your brother who you see every day. How are you going to love God that you don't see? You know, so it's to keep things interesting. So if you're against black people, you can't find the will to love black people, because we're here, it's a school, we're here to evolve. When you're incarnated next time, you probably incarnate as a black person. If you don't like white people and you can't get over it, if you don't like gay people, that's another thing. You can't get over it. You evolve, and you reincarnate another time, and that's who you are. It's to keep things interesting. It's to keep things interesting, and that we should love one another. Love, it does. And we have to transcend color. If we understand who we are, we will. Okay, most importantly of all, choose the highest standards and offer in the world. Work to embrace and use them. And then all skin colors will take on a new and inner beauty, which none will be able to resist. All people will then willingly bond in perfect harmony. Physical appearance of every color will also change and take on new inner beauty. This is so true. This is so true. Okay. And let's see. All right. So next week, we're going to talk about reincarnation. So let's read this right here, and then we're going to stop. And next week, we talk about reincarnation. Um, what did I do? Uh, okay. Yeah. When these letters have been distributed throughout the world and groups of people band together to live within the spiritual laws of existence, such groups will find they are living harmoniously protected lives, although there may be mayhem going on around them. Everywhere, those who bond together to learn how to enter and live within the wholeness of being, which I termed the kingdom of heaven 2,000 years ago, will discover that their circumstances are surely changing. I urge you to meet together on a Sunday to speak of your many blessings. Give sincere, wholehearted thanks and raise your minds to praise of that which has given you being. Meditate together to draw divine consciousness through your minds into world consciousness, that the nature of the divine may more and more imbue the nature of the world's psyche with its own transcendent love. Your groups will emit spiritual consciousness energy, which will influence mind energies around them. I would have you remember that the world was not in such a dangerous predicament when the churches worldwide met on Sundays to worship God. Those days are now past. You will not worship God. You will not worship God. You will build on a strong awareness of divine consciousness universally present. Its universality and scope of creativity will be ever more firmly entrenched in your minds by means of sincere praise. In the silence and stillness, you will all reach out to divine consciousness and invite it, loving lovingly, to take possession of your mind and heart. Thus, little by little, will you become unfied, and the divine consciousness will more and more take possession of the world as what its earliest intention. Okay, and next week we will talk about reincarnation. And what did he say? Oh, So I said, I would, right here, I would have you remember that the world was not in such a dangerous predicament when the churches worldwide met on Sundays to worship God. Those days are now past. You will not worship God. What is it saying? You will not worship God. You will build up a strong awareness of divine universality, divine consciousness, universally present. Mm, yeah. Yes, yes, yeah. Mm. Worship the true God. Yeah, I met on Sundays to worship God. Those days are now past. I think so much that we haven't evolved for some reason spiritually. Spiritually, it's like we're worse than our ancestors. You know, all this tradition, all this thing, it seems that it has taken away um, from spirituality. You know, the way churches are today has totally taken the spirituality out of the churches. You know, like we're getting farther and farther away from God. It's too much tradition. All right, so we're going to leave that here tonight, and next week we'll talk about reincarnation. Oh, I can't wait to read that. So tonight we read about racism, and the key takeaway is we it's our consciousness, it's our awareness, it's the way we were brought up in our homes, in our communities, that give us this false, maybe it's not false for someone, but just give us our awareness of other races, and we have to transcend that. There's no excuse. Raise your consciousness. Depend, no matter what your race out there, you should know who you are. That we all come from that divine one, that oneness, that source. There's no separation. Everyone is in the mind of God, the womb of God. You know, understand who you are. We're not this physical world, and what it wants to tell us who we are. That some races are better and some races are smarter. All those stupid things. Come into the knowledge of self, and you will understand others. All right. And Father, Mother God, I thank you tonight. Thank you for this lesson. Thank you for what was said in these letters, from the Christ letters, so we may understand who we are and the time we're living in and how we should forgive and love as our Father, Mother loves us. Bless everyone who hear this word tonight, and bless those who will be hearing it at another time. And we pray also for everyone in every area of this world, that this truth that you promise will go to every nation, that every nation, every person will know who they are. And we're here to find our divinity. We're in the school of life to go back to our divinity, to find our divine self, that divine consciousness. We thank you and we say amen. Thank you. All right. Hey, sis. Thank you, sis. Be blessed. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Happy Mother's Day tomorrow, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. And be blessed. Be blessed.